faces, feel it sinking in. Lonely faces, say you need a friend. No matter the distance, I will always be there. No more inhibitions, I'll show you I care. You've been lost and alone.
Welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Moyo, and in today's video I'm going to be showing you guys how I made my simple wrap top. It's really easy to make, and I came up with 2 ways to quickly style this top. So if you are interested in seeing my tutorial, please make sure to watch this video till the end, and if it ends up being helpful, please make sure to give it a huge thumbs up, and please subscribe to my channel. I create DIY videos like this. I like to talk on my channel, and I also do some lifestyle content here and there, so please make sure to subscribe if you love to see any of these things that I have mentioned. And without any further ado, let's get into the video. I'm going to start by folding my fabric into 2. This is to cut the back of my top. If you don't want to waste your material, then don't fold too much. Fold exactly what you need. For example, my bust is 36, and if I divide 36 by 4, I'm going to get 9, then plus 2, that's 11 inches. So even if I'm marking more than 11 inches, I'm not going to mark too much. Okay. Next thing I'm going to do is start taking my body measurements. Now, I'm going to start with my back. My back is 7.5, so I'm taking exactly 7.5. Then I'm going to take my armhole next. And to get the perfect armhole, you're just going to take your back measurement. You're going to add 0.5, then you're also going to add 1 inch. Don't worry about this 1 inch, but I'm still going to take it out. My current armhole is now 9 inches. Then I'm going to come over to the 9 inches mark, and I'm going to take my exact shoulder measurement, which is 7.5. Once I do this, I'm going to grab my ruler, draw a straight line just to, give me an insight to what I'm doing. And I'm also going to draw it on top just to mark the perfect armhole. Once I'm done, I'm going to be using my pattern master to draw an armhole curve. If you don't have a pattern master, you can definitely use your free hand, but since I have a pattern master, then I'm going to use it. You can also use a French curve if you have one. I'm going to come over to the top of my armhole like this, and I'll come down by 1 inch. Also, from the center of my top, I'm going to mark 3 inches. This is just a standard I always do because everybody's back is slanted. Next is to use a ruler to slant this line, and we're going to go proper into taking our body measurements. Now I'm going to take my bust measurements, and I'm using 36 for my bust. If I divide 36 by 4, I'm going to get 9 inches. Now this 9 inches I get, I'm going to add 2 inches extra allowance. Then I am going to go over to the top of my top like this, and I'm going to be marking 20 inches. Note that my shoulder to waist is actually 15.5, but I'm adding extra 4.5 inches because of allowance up and down. I'm going to mark a straight line on the length of my top. Then I'm going to take my waist measurement. For my waist measurement, I'm going to be using 7 inches. Then I'm going to add 1 inch. We are going to assume that we are adding that to this top. Then also we are going to add 2 inches for our allowance. And once I'm done with this, I'm just going to go ahead, grab my ruler, and connect my points. Guys, we are done with our markings. Then it's time to cut. I'm just going to cut around these markings that we have. If you followed my steps, then you should have something like this. The next thing we are doing is to cut the neck of our back, and I'm going to go over to the midpoints like this and mark 2 inches. Then on the part that we already marked 3 inches before, now I'm going to make this curve. If you can't make a smooth curve, then please use your curved ruler or your pattern master, whatever. And I'm also going to cut this out, and now the back of our top is ready, fully ready, guys. Now I'm going to fold this material into 2, and this is what we're going to be using to cut the front part of our top. Then I'm going to grab what I already cut for my back, and I'm going to turn it over to the right side of the material just to help us see what we are doing properly. And I'm going to place this on my material the one that I want to use for the front. Once I'm done with this, I'm going to go ahead and trace out what I have here. But you are not cutting the front yet, but as for the sides, the armhole, everything, just go ahead and cut it out the way I have done, or the way I am doing. The next thing you want to do is to trace the neckline of your top like this. Just follow my steps, please. Then I'm going to go over to the hemline of my top, and I'm going to notch the center. You can notch the back and the front, but what we essentially need is the front part, to ensure to notch the center of your top. Then I'm going to use a chalk to outline it like this, just to like draw a straight line. Then for my neck, I want it to be a bit high. I don't want it to be showing my chest too much. I'm going to use about 6 inches. If you want yours to be deeper or lower, then you can use around 8 inches. From the center part where I made my notch, I'm going to come out by 6 inches and just mark it right there. Then from that marking that I just made, I'm going to go up by 4 inches. Then from these 4 inches, what you just want to do is to connect it to the 6 inches mark that we made on the neckline, and we're also going to connect this to our shoulder line. So please just follow my steps and you're going to get it. Now all we have to do is to cut, and once I am done cutting, I'm going to separate the back from the front, and we are going over to the armhole. My armhole is 8 inches, so if I divide that by 2, I'm going to get 4 inches. So I'm marking that, and from that 4-inch mark, I'm going to come in by half an inch. Once I'm done with this, I'm just going to connect this to both the top and bottom of my armhole, and I am going to cut it out. If you followed my steps properly, this is what you should have. Next thing we are doing is to cut our ropes, and we need 2 ropes. So the length of my fabric is actually 60 inches, but I folded it into 4 to make it very easy for me to cut. So after this fold, I'm going to go to the top of my fabric like this, and I'm going to mark 4 inches. Remember that the extension on our top, on the front part of our top, is 4 inches. So that is exactly what I am doing, like you can see. So I'm marking this 4 inches, and I'm going to mark it on both sides. Then I'm going to connect this, and remember that I need 2 ropes, so I'm also going to repeat this again, and I am going to use a ruler to connect my 2 points. Once I'm done connecting my 2 points, I'm going to cut the 2 ropes. Now when I cut the 2 ropes, I'm going to have about 60 inches, because of course that is the length of my fabric. I need about 45 inches, so I'm just going to cut exactly what I need, and I'm going to trash the remaining. Now it's time to cut the sleeve, and I'm going to take my remaining piece of fabric, and I'm going to fold the salvage end into 2 at first, and I'm also going to fold this thing that I already folded into 2. I'm going to fold this into 2 again, making the fold to be into 4, and I'm going to go over to the top of my fabric and mark a straight line. This is like my starting point, because I want it to be smooth, and I'm going to come down by about 3 inches. You can actually eyeball this and do whatever you feel is right. Then from that 3-inch mark, I'm just going to connect a slant line from the center part of my fold. Once I'm done with this, I'm also going to mark the length of my sleeve. I'm using 18 inches, so I'm going to mark that and draw a straight line. We are going to cut both the top and bottom of the sleeve like this, and at the top of my sleeve I went in by 1 inch and I tapered that down, like you can see. So we are done cutting, and it's time to sew. Now I'm going to align both the front and back part of my top like this, and on the shoulder part I'm going to be sewing in with 0.5 inch. And also by the side of my top, I'm going to sew in with 1 inch. Remember that when we were cutting, we added about 2 inches, but I want my top to be free. That is why I'm going to be sewing with only 1 inch. Now guys, this is what it looks like. If I turn it over, this is what it looks like. So I'm going to grab my rope, the rope that we made earlier, and I am going to match it to the extension that we have on the front part of our top. Once I do this, I'm going to go over to the sewing machine and I'm going to sew. So on the hemline of my top, I'm going to hem, and I'm going to repeat this on the neckline of my top as well. Now, to fold or to hem your top is very simple. All you have to do is to fold once, then fold again. So essentially you're folding it twice and then you sew on the second fold. So you're just going to do this around your your rough edges. Then I'm going to grab my sleeve. Making my sleeve was very easy. All I had to do was to join the two sides, then I need like a straight stitch. Then I also folded at the hemline of my top because I want to add elastic band. I folded in it up to like 1.5 inch. Then I left a little space for my elastic to enter. To attach my sleeve to my top, I ensured that the right side of my sleeve was facing the right side of my the armhole. Then I made sure that I aligned the parts that I already sewed, and then I fixed it like that. Also note, guys, that there will be excess fabric around your shoulder area, so ensure to pleat that when you sew. And if you follow my step, you should have something like this. Then it's time to attach our elastic to the band of our sleeve. Once I was done, I passed in my elastic and I ensured to tie my elastic at least 3 to 4 times because I don't want this to be removing when I'm wearing it, and also because I didn't really see the need to use a sewing machine to sew it since I can easily tie it, so no need to stress. So guys, this is what the finished look looks like, and I really hope you learned a thing or two from this tutorial. Thank you so much for watching this video. If it was helpful, please make sure to give it a huge thumbs up, follow me on my social media, and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much. I'll see you in my next one. Bye.